you guys hear me now? All right, I'm gonna start my timer because I have a tendency to talk a lot. So let's get started. We're gonna talk about mentoring and why it didn't work, just for us at this time. But I think if I would have attended these sessions last year, I'd be giving a very different presentation. Transactional volunteering versus transformational volunteering, I think it applies a lot in mentoring and kind of what we found along our way. So about a year too late, but I'm gonna be talking with Corey after. How do you use this thing? There we go. Okay, a couple things. I work for 360 Insights. I'm called the Culture Curator. We've won the top 4 great places to work in Canada through the Globe and Mail Great Place to Work for the last 5 years, and we suck at mentoring. So I just wanted to kind of like put it in context, like people like working with us, but we still don't do everything really awesome. This is a picture of my AeroPress. I really like coffee. I don't drink a lot of it, but I enjoy drinking good coffee. I like a couple things about the AeroPress. It's extremely cheap. You want to buy a nice espresso maker, and you're like $400, $1,200, $40 for the AeroPress. And it makes an incredible little cup of espresso or an Americano. It is delicious. It's also very simple to use. Have you ever tried using an espresso maker? If you don't tamp it right or get the flow of water, you're gonna mess up your espresso and you're gonna be crying. You'll be upset. And then the person whose machine it is will be upset because you wrecked it. It's difficult. This is extremely simple. It's very challenging to mess it up. The catch with it is that it takes a little bit extra effort. You can't just sync your coffee maker with your iPhone and have it drip on as soon as you start senses motion. Like you have to grind the beans, you have to scoop them out, you have to pour the water. There's a bit of TLC that goes into making an AeroPress, but it's totally worth it. There we go. All right, these are my kids. This is Kaya and Drayson, and we have a lot of fun. How many people have kids? How many people don't have kids? How many people have kids that, never mind. We won't go there. All right, so speaking of kids, how many people have ever, this has been them in the grocery store, right? Your kid on the floor crying. How many people who don't have kids have walked in and been like, why is that kid on the crying? Don't they know how to parent? But then how many times have you walked into a grocery store and it's someone else's kid, and all of a sudden it's just like, you're like dancing, you're like, it's not mine. You want to go over to that parent, like hug them, give them a high five, and be like, yes, I'm not alone. Your kid cries, I'm winning today. It could be yours in like 30 seconds, but for that moment, you think that parent's amazing, not because of what they're doing, but how loud their kid's crying. You're like, yes, someone else's kid is crying. And so that's a little bit of what I want to talk about today and how our mentoring program failed. It didn't work, it really sucked. You get a cheer because our kid's crying in the grocery store. All right, a couple quick things that got us onto mentoring. We did our engagement survey, we used Tembo Status, and we found that 31.3% of our company were not excited, to say the least, about their empowerment and their career opportunities. So we need to do something about it. Also, the Deloitte survey of millennials found that people who were thinking about staying 5 years or more were twice as likely because they had a mentor engaged with the organization. We have a young company, we have fast growth, we want to keep our talent. Tying into the last point, we need access to their brains. We need other people to have access to their brains because we have a lot of kind of tribal knowledge. We had 40 people 4.5 years ago, and now we have 300 people. So what they know up here, we need to get it out into the rest of the organization. Another little kind of tidbit that I stumbled across here, I like to pull information from other kind of streams to help me grow. So I'm in the HR world, as most of you are, but I like to look at the software development world and look at how they're using agile methodology and go, hey, how can I do continuous improvement in HR? Or manufacturing, or the sales process, a very defined sales process. Is it step 1? Is it step 2? Is it step 3? And how can I apply different learning? So I found this when I actually worked for several years in the not-for-profit sector. And this isn't about career mentoring. This is just about mentoring at-risk youth. So 55% more likely to enroll in college, 78% more likely to volunteer than regularly, 90% more interested in becoming a mentor. I like that. And 130% more likely to hold leadership positions. Now, we don't necessarily have at-risk youth in our organization, but we have flight risk employees. because there's other organizations that want to offer more money, more flexibilities, more perks, be closer to home, all those sorts of things. So how are we investing in our people? And that's with mentoring, just not the way we did it. Okay, so we wanted career growth, we wanted connection with teams and across the teams, and we wanted increased engagement with the company, retention. So what we did, we thought it was pretty simple, right? It's like the AeroPress. We selected people who were willing. We got that part right. We didn't force people to do it. We paired people with mentors. This is pretty common sense. I'm not blowing your mind, I know. But just going somewhere here. We gave minimal instruction and guidance. Maybe could have done a little bit better there. We had 12 out of 13 people sign up to participate in the mentorship program, which I thought was pretty good. But what actually happened was, because we gave very little guidance, our mentors each did something very different. So everybody's experience with our mentorship program ranged from like 10 out of 10 to 0 out of 10. Some of them viewed it very transactionally. So it's like, all right, what are we going to do? Sit down, we're going to talk about it. And they met like very clinically. Other people were like high five, and that's what they thought mentoring was. We're like, oh boy. So it didn't have a lot of staying power. And almost all of our mentorship relationships kind of petered off by the end of 6 months. Another thing that happened is it wasn't part of anybody's job. It wasn't part of their their required KPIs. So they got busy and it fell off. So we're trying to think about what we can do with that. The other thing that happened is we had a major reorg. We had a new CTO in our dev team, a number of new managers. And so there's a lot of organizational change that really disrupted the mentor and mentee relationships. So, and it wasn't started from the top. Our CTO wasn't driving the mentorship program, which is a plus and a minus. So what we learned is that the need in a mentor changes over time. So we have people in the organization from zero, first day to the first 9 months, and we need to shift what we taught new employees and what kind of mentor they wanted versus someone who needed a mentor who'd been there for 7 years. The program was too vague. We wanted to give it some more clarity, flexibility, but some clarity in the objectives, create a toolkit for the mentors of how they can flourish, and also open it up to everyone. So across the organization, because maybe you want to be mentored in leadership and someone in your department isn't maybe the leader that you want to be mentored by. So we're still going to do it. We're going to continue to try mentoring. I'm going to take some stuff that I learned this morning and reapply it. And the favorite part of my story, besides the Justin Bieber slide, is Brian. This is Brian. He's a senior developer, and the entire mentorship program is launched because we had the metrics. We knew it was best practice. We knew we should do it. But Brian got to our organization, and he said, where's the mentorship program? We said, we don't have one. He's like, can I start one? We said, sure. And so it was an employee-led initiative that was supported by the CTO, supported by HR, but it was employee-led, which to me is a major win. But now looking back, he lacked the support and the funding, the resources, the promotion that we could have given him as an organization. So mentoring is a lot like an AeroPress. It's simple and inexpensive, but it takes a little bit extra work to make it work the way you want it to. And I think I'm done. Thank you very much.